you twice, and you're listening to that, what would you think?
I think...
Yeah, he is. It's true. He's really delusional, or I don't know if it's like a game or what it is, but he's really obsessed with Carl Froch. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live, and I cover boxing. George St. Groves will be taking on, 20-2 with 13 KOs. Will be taking on Denis Douglin of New Jersey. He goes by the alias of Momma's Boy. And 167 for Groves and about 168, if I'm correct, like 168, a little under a quarter, or if a quarter for Douglin. So he was given some time to make weight. Of course, most likely he will make weight, go sweat it off or somewhere. So the fight is going to be for the WBC Silver Super Middleweight Title, meaning George Groves has eyes to fight his mandatory Andre Dirrell sometime in the spring, late spring, very late spring, maybe March or April, May. So he wanted to stay busy. Now, earlier talks, when he was talking about Christopher Rebrasse in the build-up for that fight, that was his last fight, he was talking about that big shit about, I might be a world champion before Christmas. Because he was thinking he would just blow through Rebrasse and maybe get a shot at Anthony Dirrell for the WBC title before Christmas. So if you saw the Christopher Rebrasse fight, he didn't look good. He looked like the same George Groves that when it comes to later on in the fight, he starts to gas out. Now, I said in my Dirrell versus Paravan video that maybe, it's a bigger issue than what we're making it to seem, I guess. Or maybe we're trying to dumb it down, because if you look at his punch output, he's not like, he's not a guy out there throwing 100 punches around. So I think to myself, okay, all right, what happens to him for what I've noticed in the 2 losses against Carl Froch? His hands drop. He, how can I put it? He starts getting into a somewhat retreat mode. Like, you can see when he starts to gas. So in 3 straight fights, you can see when he starts to gas. Remember, the end of the last fight, Christopher Rebrasse was starting to catch up on him. But if you don't know, let me stop, introduce myself. From T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live, and I cover boxing. I cover every single major fight in the UK, cover every single major fight in the United States. If it's over in Russia, I'll cover it too. Real Combat Media is the website, link right below. And what I want to say is this. I said it in the previous video. Listen, I don't always get the scoop over there, on your fighters. I got to work extra hard to get the news on what's going on. So, for example, I had to make sure I was here at 7 a.m. to be able to to be able to watch the weigh-in. Because I didn't know that it was going to be on YouTube. I'm thinking, I got to go find some Sky Sports. Oh, God. But I was happy that they're actually capitalizing on that, because they're starting to help the fighters get recognition over here. And you can't have the fight showing in the States, meaning the whole card, Cleverly versus Bellew 2, Joshua Sprott, Dirrell Paraban, Groves Douglin, Squig Otaki, and whoever's Callum Smith versus whoever. So you can't have the fight broadcast over here in the States on the AWE network. It used to be Wealth TV. I don't have it. I have a service called Xfinity Comcast. Fios and the Dish Network have it. I don't have it. Oh, don't get me wrong, I'll be watching the fight. But, that's something I ought to think about when my contract is up, maybe, because that's a channel I need to have. So, moving on, I look at it like this. Depending on how George Groves looks in this fight, I can't give him any chance to beat Anthony Dirrell. And I can't give him a chance right now to beat James Douglin. Now, can James Douglin withstand the power early? We don't know. That's what we're going to find out from Paramount. But as it stands with George Groves, his career is a question mark. It's a question mark. It's a question mark. And a big-ass red marker. It's a question mark, because we don't know if he can really take a punch. So he lost the first fight against Carl Froch via TKO. Some saw it as being early, but many saw that Froch was going to stop him in the later rounds, because Froch gets better as the fight goes on. And then you saw the second fight where there was no questions about nothing. He put him to sleep. George Groves was asleep, and then he woke up and saw the ref like, no, remember that? And he was like, no, shit. He realized he wasn't home. So I guess, we're just going to have to see. You got this American going over there, Denis Douglin. He going over there with his mom, too. Tell her what his mom telling him. She probably telling him some off-the-wall shit. You know how moms is. She probably like, go out there and fuck him up, son. Like, hit him in the dick if you got to. We not leaving here without that belt. So we don't know. So I'm actually expecting it to be an exciting fight, especially when you got George Groves saying on IFL TV that he's just going to go out there and just blast right through him. Then it's like, Cougs like, oh, really? He like, yeah, why the fuck not? Fuck it. And I'm like, God damn, Groves, what is wrong with you? Like, what y'all call over there? Like, is he sick in the head? But I'm going to be covering the fight live, as I'm going to be covering. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you something. I'm going to cover Cleverly versus Bellew 2. I'm going to cover Anthony Joshua, Michael Sprout. I'm going to cover George Groves, Denis Douglin, James DeGale versus Parabon, Scott Quigg versus Otaki, Caleb Smith versus the guy from Advanced Warfare. I think that, it's this dude that, listen. I think that's one of them. Either Scott Quigg or it's the dude that looked like he was from Advanced Warfare. Long story short, then I'm going to cover Pacquiao versus Algieri, Jesse Vargas versus DeMarco, Vasil Lomachenko versus Pierre Pano, and Zhu Shiming versus somebody. I don't know his name either. His name may be Otaki. I don't know. It's too many names. T-Street Controversy Live, your #1 source for boxing news. Yes, daily. Please subscribe.